Have you ever found yourself lying awake at night, replaying a sharp conversation with a family member, or worrying about a choice from years ago? It is common to feel like your mind is a crowded room where every worry is shouting for your attention. Today, the modern world demands that we react instantly to every news, headline, or unkind comment. This constant pressure can make us feel like we have lost control over our own inner calm. Marcus Aurelius once reminded himself that our lives are what our thoughts make of them. He believed that we are not truly disturbed by events, but by the way we choose to interpret them. For example, imagine a neighbor makes a dismissive remark about your past. They are only words, but if you agree that those words have power over you, the hurt becomes real. Today, we will explore a practical way to guard your mind and find steadiness again. We will walk through an ancient principle and a simple practice to filter your thoughts. Please stay with us as we build this steadiness together. If you are ready to reclaim your peace, please type, "I control my response." I control my response. The first major pillar of our sovereign mind protocol is the discipline of assent. In the quiet language of the Stoics, this is known as the power of the gatekeeper. To understand this principle, we must first recognize that the world does not enter our hearts directly. Instead, every event, every unkind word, and every sudden change arrive at the door of our mind as an impression. An impression is like a picture or a message. It is a raw piece of information. The discipline of assent is your ability to look at that message and decide whether you will agree with it or reject it. The Stoics believed that our unhappiness rarely comes from the events themselves. It comes from the moment we say yes to a harmful thought. When you agree that a situation is a disaster, you give that situation power over your peace. But if you hold that thought at the door and refuse to agree with it, you remain the master of your own inner world. Practicing this today is more difficult than it was in ancient times because of the speed at which we live. We are surrounded by high-speed communication that demands an instant reaction. When a phone vibrates or a family member sends a sharp text message, we feel an internal pressure to respond immediately. This modern urgency bypasses our logic and targets our emotions. For many of us, in our middle or later years, we have spent decades practicing a habit of instant worry or immediate defense. We feel that if we do not react quickly, we are being weak or passive. This culture of constant noise makes it very hard to find the 3 seconds of silence needed to act as a gatekeeper. We often find ourselves agreeing to a stressful thought before we even realize we have done so. We say yes to the anger or yes to the fear, and only later do we wonder why we feel so exhausted. Let us look at a fictional illustration that may feel familiar to many of you. Imagine your adult child comes to visit you. You have spent the morning preparing the house and looking forward to their company. However, within 10 minutes of arriving, they make a sharp comment about your health or perhaps the way you are managing your home. They might say that you are getting forgetful or that the house is becoming too much for you to handle. In that moment, an impression flashes into your mind. The impression is that they do not respect me. It says they think I am useless. If you give your assent to this thought, you will feel a sharp sting of injury. You might become defensive, or you might withdraw in sadness. Your entire afternoon is now colored by a sense of being undervalued. But let us analyze this through the eyes of a philosopher. Marcus Aurelius was the leader of the Roman Empire and a man who faced constant criticism and betrayal. In his private journals, which we now know as the Meditations. He wrote a clear instruction to himself. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Reject your sense of injury, and the injury itself disappears." This is a profound realization. He did not say that the other person's words would disappear. He said that the feeling of being injured would vanish if he refused to agree with the thought that he had been harmed. He understood that another person's opinion is simply their own perspective. It has no power to touch the soul unless the owner of that soul opens the door and lets it in. When you look at the comment from your child, you can choose to see it as their own anxiety or their own lack of filter. You can observe the words without agreeing that they define your worth. By doing this, you keep your dignity intact. You can apply this principle when you feel a sense of betrayal or deep overthinking. If a longtime friend suddenly stops calling, the impression might be, "I am being abandoned." If you feel a wave of regret about a past mistake, the impression might be that your life has been a failure. In these heavy moments, remember that these are just impressions. They are not facts. You have the right to look at the thought of abandonment and say, "This is just a thought, and I do not agree that it defines my value." You can look at the regret and say, "This is a memory, but I do not agree that it defines my future." You are not being cold or indifferent. You are simply choosing which thoughts are allowed to live in your home. To make this a reality in your daily life, we will use a practice called the 5-breath anchor. This is a physical way to slow down the mind so you can decide your ascent. Whenever you encounter a situation that feels like a sting, whether it is a conversation or a piece of bad news, follow these steps. Step number 1. Stop your hands and your tongue immediately. Do not speak. Do not type. Step number 2. Take 5 slow breaths. Breathe in for 4 seconds and breathe out for 6 seconds. As you do this, visualize yourself standing at a gate. The stressful thought is standing outside that gate, waiting for your permission to enter. Step number 3. While you breathe, ask yourself, is this thought helpful to my character? If the answer is no, simply watch the thought. Stay outside the gate. After the 5th breath, you will find that the initial heat of the emotion has faded. You can then choose to respond calmly or not to respond at all. This simple 5-breath exercise creates the space required for wisdom to return. Many of our listeners find that doing this for just 1 week changes how they feel when they wake up in the morning. They realize they are no longer at the mercy of everyone else's mood. They find a new kind of strength that is quiet and firm. It is the strength of a person who knows that their mind is their own sovereign territory. As you go through your day-to-day, try to catch just one moment when you usually feel hurt or annoyed. Take your 5 breaths and remember that you have the final say. You are the one who decides what is allowed to disturb your peace. If this idea of being a gatekeeper resonates with you, please take a moment to seal this intention. You are not just a listener, you are a person who is reclaiming your inner strength. If you are ready to stand at the door of your mind and protect your quietness, please type, "I am the gatekeeper of my peace." I am the gatekeeper of my peace. The second major pillar of our sovereign mind protocol is the neutralization of the past through value judgment. To understand this principle, we must look at how the Stoics viewed the world around them. They taught that the universe and the events within it are essentially neutral. They referred to things like health, wealth, and even our reputation as indifference. This does not mean they did not care about these things, but rather that these things do not have an inherent moral value of good or bad. According to the Stoics, the only truly good things are a virtuous character and wise choices. The only things that are truly bad are a clouded mind and poor character. This means that an event from your past, no matter how difficult it was, is not a disaster in itself. It is only your judgment of that event that makes it feel like a disaster. By changing the labels we attach to our memories, we can remove the sting that has been bothering us for years. This principle is especially difficult to apply in our modern lives because we are often taught to measure our worth by our external successes. When we reach the ages of 50, 60, or 70, we naturally spend more time looking backward. We look at our history through the lens of hindsight regret. We see the turns we did not take, the relationships that ended, and the opportunities we let slip away. In our modern culture, we are encouraged to judge these past mistakes as absolute failures. We tell ourselves that because something went wrong 10 or 20 years ago, our entire life has been diminished. We carry these judgments like heavy stones. We often forget that we are the ones who chose to pick those stones up in the first place. The weight we feel today is not coming from the past event itself. It is coming from the judgment we continue to feed every single morning. Let us consider a fictional illustration of a situation many people face. Imagine a man named David, who is now 65 years old. 10 years ago, David had the chance to invest in a small business or perhaps move to a new city for a better job. He decided to stay where he was because he wanted to play it safe. Today, that business is very successful, and the friend who moved is living a very comfortable life. David looks at his own bank account and his modest home, and he feels a deep sense of pain. The impression in his mind says, "I made a terrible mistake." It says, "I am a failure because I was too afraid to take a risk." Because David has judged his past choice as bad, every time he thinks about it, he feels a fresh wave of shame and regret. He believes the event from 10 years ago is hurting him today. However, a Stoic teacher would offer David a very different perspective. Epictetus, who lived nearly 2,000 years ago, was born a slave and lived much of his life in poverty and physical pain. Yet, he was one of the most liberated men to ever live. Epictetus taught his students a fundamental truth that remains just as powerful today. Epictetus taught that it is not the things themselves that disturb men, but their judgments about these things. If we apply this to David's situation, we see that the financial loss is just a fact. It is a neutral event. The disturbance David feels is coming entirely from his own judgment that he is a failure. If David were to change his judgment, he would see that his past choice was simply an act of caution based on the information he had at the time. His character is not defined by his bank account. His worth is not found in a business deal he did not make. By changing his judgment from disaster to a lesson, the sting of the memory disappears. You can apply this shift in value judgment when you are dealing with the pain of a past betrayal or a broken relationship. For many, being betrayed by a spouse or a close friend feels like a permanent stain on their life. The judgment we often make is that the betrayal has ruined us or made us look foolish. But the Stoics would say that the betrayal belongs to the person who did it. Their lack of character is their problem. Your character remains unharmed unless you choose to become bitter and hateful. The betrayal is an external event. Your response is your own. You can also apply this to overthinking your regrets as a parent or a child. Instead of labeling yourself as a bad parent, you can view your past as a series of experiences that have given you the wisdom you possess today. When you stop judging your past as a series of errors, you find that you have much more energy to live well in the present. To practice this shift today, we will use an exercise called the two-column review. This is a quiet, deliberate way to audit your judgments. You will need about 10 minutes of quiet time this evening. Step number 1. Take a piece of paper and draw a line down the middle to create 2 columns. Step number 2. In the left-hand column, write down one specific regret that has been bothering you lately. It could be a financial mistake, a lost relationship, or a missed opportunity. Write it down exactly as you usually think of it. For example, you might write, "I lost my savings in a bad investment." Step number 3. In the right-hand column, you are going to reframe this event by looking for the strength or the wisdom you gained because of it. Instead of a disaster, look for the lesson. You might write, "Because of that loss, I learned how to be resourceful, and I discovered who my true friends were." As you look at the paper, realize that the event in the left column is finished. It is neutral history. The meaning you give it in the right column is where your power lives. You are choosing to shift your attention from the thought of failure to the thought of growth. You are deciding that your past will no longer be a source of pain, but a source of instruction. This 10-minute practice helps to rewire the way your mind handles old memories. It teaches your nervous system that the past is not a threat. Over time, you will find that your old regrets lose their power to make you feel small. You will begin to see your life not as a series of mistakes, but as a rich library of lessons that have made you the resilient person you are today. Remember that the Stoic way is not about ignoring the past. It is about reclaiming your authority over it. You are the only person who can decide what your history means. You are the only one who can decide if a memory is a weight or a bridge. As you move through the rest of your week, notice when an old regret tries to sting you. Stop and tell yourself, "That was an event, but my judgment of it is my choice." You will find a profound sense of dignity when you realize that your peace of mind does not require a perfect past. It only requires a wise and compassionate presence if you are ready to stop letting your old memories judge you. Take a moment to join our community of practice. We are all learning to look backward with kindness and forward with strength. To signal that you are taking back your authority over your own story, please type, "My past is my teacher, not my judge." My past is my teacher, not my judge. When life feels exceptionally heavy, we often feel as though we are drowning in a sea of responsibilities and disappointments. The ancient Stoics understood this feeling deeply. Their central principle for these moments was the radical acceptance of external facts, combined with the fierce protection of internal strength. They taught that while we cannot choose the burdens placed upon our shoulders, we have absolute authority over how we carry them. This is not about being a martyr or pretending that pain does not exist. Instead, it is about recognizing that our capacity to endure is much larger than our current emotions suggest. The Stoics believe that the heaviest weights in life are not the situations themselves, but the stories we tell ourselves about those situations. When we strip away the story, we find the strength to manage the reality. In our modern world, this is incredibly difficult because we are constantly told that we should be able to fix everything. We live in a culture of solutions and quick repairs. When we face a situation that cannot be fixed quickly, such as a long-term illness or a deep family betrayal. We feel like we are failing. For those of us in our middle or later years, we often face the dual pressure of caring for aging parents while also managing the shifting dynamics of our adult children. We are the sandwich generation, often feeling isolated and undervalued. Modern life also lacks the close-knit community support that once helped people share their burdens. We often carry these heavy loads in silence, and the weight is multiplied by the modern habit of overthinking every possible negative outcome. We feel that we must be strong for everyone else, which leads us to ignore our own need for mental clarity. Let us look at a modern illustration that captures this struggle. Imagine a woman named Sarah, who is 62 years old. For the past 2 years, Sarah has been the primary caregiver for her mother, who is struggling with declining memory. Sarah also has a brother who lives just a few miles away, but he rarely visits and never offers to help with the daily care. Sarah feels a crushing weight. She is physically exhausted from the caregiving, but she is mentally exhausted by the sense of betrayal from her brother. Every morning, she wakes up and thinks, "I cannot do this anymore. And why is my brother so selfish?" This double burden of physical labor and emotional resentment is making her life feel unbearable. Sarah's peace has been stolen not just by the illness of her mother, but by her own judgment of her brother's behavior. If we analyze this through the lens of Stoic wisdom, we can see where Sarah can reclaim her power. Marcus Aurelius faced similar pressures as he managed a crumbling empire while dealing with untrustworthy family members. In his writings, he offered a perspective that can help anyone feeling overwhelmed. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Everything that happens is as ordinary and well-known as the rose in spring and the fruit in summer." This may sound simple, but it is a powerful reminder that hardship, family conflict, and the decline of health are natural parts of the human experience. They are as natural as the seasons. By viewing her brother's selfishness as an ordinary fact of his character, Sarah can stop expecting him to be different. She can say to herself, "My brother's betrayal is not in my control. My mother's illness is not in my control. But my response to this moment is entirely within my control." When you find yourself in a situation of family conflict or betrayal, you can apply what we call the sovereign capacity audit. Instead of looking at the entire mountain of the future, you look only at the next hour. If you are feeling betrayed by a spouse or a friend, ask yourself, is their lack of integrity a reflection of my worth? The Stoic answer is a firm no. Their choices belong to them. Your only job is to maintain your own integrity and kindness. If you are caring for a loved one and you feel like you are at your breaking point, realize that the thought, "I cannot do this," is an impression born of temporary exhaustion. It is a feeling, not a fact. You can say to yourself, "I am tired in this moment, but I am capable of doing what is required right now." Whatever your faith or your background, you can find a deep sense of dignity in simply doing your duty with a quiet mind. To practice this when life feels heavy, we suggest the heavy load audit. This is a 15-minute exercise to clear your mental space. Step number 1. Take a piece of paper and list everything that feels heavy to you right now. Write down the physical tasks, the people who have disappointed you, and the fears you have about the future. Step number 2. Draw a circle around only the things on that list that you can personally change in the next 24 hours. Sarah cannot change her brother's heart, but she can change how much time she spends thinking about him. Step number 3. For every item that is not circled. Repeat this phrase to yourself. This is an external event that does not define my soul. Step number 4. Focus your entire energy only on the small, circled items. This practice works because it stops the leak of your mental energy. When you stop fighting the things you cannot change, that energy returns to you. You find that you have more patience for your loved ones and more strength for your tasks. This is not about becoming a person who doesn't care. It is about becoming a person who cares too much about their own peace to let it be destroyed by the choices of others. You are choosing to be like a lighthouse. The storm may crash against the rocks, and the wind may howl. But the lighthouse remains standing because its foundation is deep and its purpose is clear. You are doing the hard work of living, and that is enough. You do not need to be perfect. You only need to be present and steady. As we move through these difficult chapters of life, it is important to remember that you are not alone. Many people are listening to these words right now, feeling the same weight and the same exhaustion. We are a community of people who are choosing to find our strength in the quiet corners of our own minds. There is a great dignity in being the one who remains calm when everything else is in chaos. It is a gift you give to yourself and to everyone around you. You are more resilient than your tired thoughts tell you. You have survived every difficult day of your life so far, and you have the tools to navigate this one as well. If you are currently carrying a heavy load and you are ready to put down the weight of resentment or fear, let us acknowledge that strength together. It is okay to be tired, but it is also possible to be capable. By refusing to let your circumstances dictate your character, you are winning a quiet and beautiful victory. To signal that you are focusing on your own strength today, please type, I am tired at this moment, but I am capable. I am tired at this moment, but I am capable. The final stage of our Sovereign Mind protocol is the 7-day action plan. This plan is built on the Stoic principle of progressive training, which they called pro-cope. The Stoics believed that philosophy was not a set of ideas to be admired from a distance, but a craft to be practiced every single day. Just as a carpenter becomes skilled by working with wood every morning, a person becomes resilient by working with their thoughts. They understood that character is not changed by one big decision, but by 1,000 tiny choices. By following a structured plan, we move from being a person who simply hears wisdom to a person who embodies it. This 7-day journey is designed to help you reclaim your mind one step at a time. It is a commitment to yourself that you are worth the effort of this daily practice. Following a structured plan is particularly difficult in our modern world because we are conditioned to expect instant results. We are used to fast food, instant messaging, and quick fixes for our problems. When we do not feel a total transformation after one day, we often become discouraged and give up. For many of us who are navigating the challenges of later life, such as health changes or shifting family roles, we may feel that our habits are too deeply set to change. We might think that after 60 or 70 years, our patterns of worry or reaction are permanent. However, the human mind is remarkably flexible. The difficulty of modern life is that it provides constant distractions that pull us away from our intentions. A 7-day plan provides the guardrails we need to stay on the path even when the world is noisy. Let us look at a fictional illustration of how this plan might look in the life of a person named Robert. Robert is 70 years old and often finds himself feeling irritated by the political news on television or by the lack of communication from his siblings. He feels that his peace is at the mercy of things he cannot control. He decides to follow the sovereign mind protocol for 1 week. On the first 2 days, he focuses only on the wait when he sees a frustrating news story. Instead of complaining immediately, he turns off the television and waits 15 minutes. By the middle of the week, he is watching his words. Instead of saying that his brother is being terrible for not calling, he says that his brother is facing a challenge. By the end of the week, Robert spends his evenings reviewing his day with a sense of pride rather than regret. He realizes that while the world remained the same, his experience of it had changed entirely. This process of gradual improvement is exactly what the ancient masters taught. Epictetus, who spent his life teaching people how to be free in their own minds, spoke clearly about the power of habit. Epictetus taught that every habit and faculty is maintained and increased by the corresponding actions. This means that every time you choose to wait before reacting, you are making your patience stronger for the future. Every time you choose a neutral word instead of a loaded one, you are training your mind to see reality more clearly. Analysis of this teaching shows us that we are the architects of our own temperament. We are not born as angry or worried people. We become those things through repeated actions. Therefore, we can become calm and steady people through the same process of repetition. You can apply this 7-day plan when you are dealing with a long-standing conflict or a period of deep overthinking. If you are struggling with a sense of betrayal from a friend, use the first 2 days to simply stop discussing the betrayal. Give your mind a break from the constant repetition of the story. On the following days, change how you describe the event in your own head. Move from a story of being a victim to a story of being a person who is learning to set better boundaries. This plan is especially helpful for those who feel lonely or forgotten. By focusing on your own daily actions, you shift your attention away from what others are not doing and toward what you are doing for yourself. It restores a sense of dignity and purpose to your daily life. Regardless of your external circumstances, here is your detailed 7-day action plan. Step number 1 covers day number 1 and day number 2. This phase is called the practice of the wait. For these 48 hours, your only goal is to create a gap between a stimulus and your response. If you receive a challenging text message or a frustrating piece of news, do not reply or comment for at least 15 minutes. Use a timer if you need to. During those 15 minutes, do anything else. Wash a dish, look out the window, or breathe deeply. You are teaching your nervous system that you do not have to be a puppet to every external event. This is the foundation of your sovereign mind. Step number 2 covers day number 3 and day number 4. This phase is about identifying loaded words. We often use dramatic language like, "This is a disaster," or "They are ruining my life." For these 2 days, catch yourself whenever you use these heavy labels. Replace them with neutral descriptions. Instead of saying, "This is terrible," say, "This is a challenge that requires my attention." Instead of saying, "I am devastated," say, "I am experiencing a difficult emotion." By changing your vocabulary, you remove the emotional fuel from the fire of overthinking. You begin to see events as they truly are, rather than how your fear describes them. Step number 3 covers day number 5, day number 6, and day number 7. This is the practice of the evening sieve. At the end of each day, spend 5 minutes in quiet reflection. Review the events of the day without judgment. Find at least one moment where you almost lost your temper or gave in to worry. but chose the pause instead. Acknowledge this small victory. If you fail in a moment, simply note it and tell yourself that you will have a new opportunity tomorrow. This evening review prevents your worries from piling up. It helps you clear the mental slate so you can sleep with a peaceful heart. By the end of these 7 days, you will have a new relationship with your own mind. You will find that you have a little more space, a little more quiet, and a lot more self-respect. This plan is not about perfection. It is about the honest effort of trying to live a little more wisely each day. You are participating in a tradition of self-mastery that has lasted for thousands of years. You are proving to yourself that your peace of mind is worth the work. We invite you to begin this journey today. You do not need to wait for a better time or a quieter life. The best time to start building your inner citadel is right now, in the middle of whatever challenges you are facing. As we finish this contemplation of the 7-day plan, let us stand together as a community of people who are committed to growth. Whether you are in your 40s or your 80s, you have the capacity to choose a steadier path. Your character is your most precious possession, and today you are taking a significant step in its care. If you are ready to begin these 7 days of practice and reclaim the sovereignty of your own mind, please join us in making a quiet promise. To seal your commitment to this journey of self-mastery, please type, "I am the architect of my character. I am the architect of my character." The final piece of our sovereign mind protocol is the daily routine, which we call the audio bookmark. This practice is based on the Stoic principle of preparing the mind for battle in the morning and reviewing the progress in the evening. The Stoics believed that wisdom is not a destination we reach once, but a continuous cycle of preparation and reflection. They often used the metaphor of a citadel, a strong fortress located in the center of a city. For a citadel to remain safe, the guards must be alert at sunrise, and the gates must be inspected at sunset. This routine is designed to help you become that alert guard for your own mind. It ensures that you do not simply drift through your day reacting to the world, but instead, you move through your day with a clear intention. By bookending your day with these 2 quiet moments, you create a sanctuary for your peace that no external event can easily destroy. Maintaining a daily routine like this is exceptionally difficult in our modern world because we are conditioned to let the outside world in the moment we wake up. Most people begin their day by reaching for a smartphone or turning on the television. When we do this, we are allowing the worries of the world, the anger of the news, and the demands of others to enter our minds before we have even had a chance to breathe. This modern habit of immediate external connection erodes our mental autonomy. By the time we reach our evening, we are often so exhausted by these external pressures that we simply collapse into sleep or distracted entertainment. We rarely take the time to audit our day. This lack of reflection means that we carry the stress of Tuesday into Wednesday, and the resentment of last month into the next. For those of us navigating the quiet challenges of later life, such as loneliness or family transitions, this cycle of external noise can make us feel as though we are losing our sense of self. Let us look at a fictional illustration of how this lack of routine can drain a person's strength. Imagine a woman named Martha, who is 70 years old and lives alone. Martha's morning routine for years has been to wake up and immediately check her family's group chat on her phone. Often, she sees messages that make her feel excluded or worried about her grandchildren's choices. She spends her morning coffee feeling a subtle sense of irritation and anxiety. Her mind is already cluttered before her day has even begun. By the evening, she feels a heavy sense of disappointment. She replays a frustrating phone call she had at noon and goes to bed feeling that her day was a failure. Martha is a kind and capable woman, but she has no armor for her morning and no audit for her night. She is living a life of reaction, and it is stealing her dignity. If we look at the wisdom of the ancient masters, we find a different way to live. Marcus Aurelius was a man who carried the weight of an entire empire, yet he made time every morning to prepare his mind. He knew that he would encounter people who were difficult, ungrateful, and aggressive. Instead of being surprised by this, he used his morning routine to build a shield. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his private journals, beginning the morning by saying to himself, "I shall meet with the busybody, the ungrateful, arrogant, deceitful, envious, unsocial." All these things happen to them by reason of their ignorance of what is good and evil. He went on to remind himself that because he understood the nature of what is good, none of these people could truly harm him or pull him into their chaos. This is the essence of the morning armor. It is not about being pessimistic. It is about being realistic so that you are not shocked by the inevitable friction of human life. By acknowledging that difficult people exist, you remove their power to surprise you. You can apply this routine when you are dealing with the complex emotions of a long marriage or the feelings of being undervalued by your community. If you are in a situation where you feel betrayed by someone you trusted, the morning armor allows you to say, "Today, I may encounter reminders of this betrayal, but I will not agree to let them ruin my character." It gives you a sense of control over your internal state. If you are struggling with the regrets of the past, the evening audit allows you to look at those thoughts with compassion and then set them aside so you can rest. This routine is especially powerful for those who are caring for others or who feel the weight of a heavy legacy. It reminds you that your primary duty is to keep your own inner light burning brightly, no matter how much wind is blowing outside. To bring this into your life today, we suggest the sovereign bookmark practice. This involves 2 short periods of 5 minutes each. Step number 1 is your morning armor. While you are having your first cup of coffee or tea, before you look at any screen or talk to anyone, sit in silence. Repeat this intention to yourself. Today, I will encounter meddling, ingratitude, and aggression. I will not be surprised by them, and I will not agree to let them into my citadel. I will focus only on what is within my control. Spend 5 minutes truly feeling the strength of those words. Visualize yourself wearing a suit of invisible armor that allows the unkindness of the world to simply slide off. Step number 2 is your night audit. Before you turn off the light to sleep, take 5 minutes to review your day as if you were a kind but firm mentor. Ask yourself 2 simple questions. Question 1. Which impressions did I master today? Think of a moment when you stayed calm, when you could have been angry. Acknowledge that victory. Question 2. Where did I give my peace away too cheaply? Reflect on a moment where you allowed a small event to ruin your mood. Do not judge yourself harshly. Simply notice it and tell yourself, "I will do better tomorrow." This audit prevents emotional debt from building up. It allows you to close the book on today so that you can start tomorrow with a clean slate. As you practice this routine, you will find that your days take on a different quality. You will feel less like a leaf being blown by the wind and more like a tree with deep roots. You are teaching yourself that your peace is a choice, that you make every sunrise and every sunset. This is the path to a sovereign mind. It is a path of quiet dignity and unshakable self-respect. You are doing the work that the greatest philosophers and the most resilient humans have done for centuries. Whether you are seeking strength through your faith or through these ancient principles, you are building a life of profound meaning and stillness. We invite you to join our community in this daily practice. There is a quiet power in knowing that others are also sitting with their coffee or lying in their beds, doing this same work of protecting their peace. You are not alone in your desire for a steadier life. By committing to this simple routine, you are declaring that your mind is your own and that your peace is worth protecting. You are reclaiming the authority over your own days and nights. If you are ready to begin this daily bookmark and stand guard over your own inner citadel, please join us in this final affirmation of strength. It is a simple promise to yourself to be intentional with your time and your energy, to signal that you are beginning your practice of the morning armor and the night audit today. Please type, "I choose my mind over my mood." I choose my mind over my mood. As we come to the end of our journey today, think back to that sharp remark or that difficult conversation we spoke of at the beginning. The world around you may not change. Your neighbor may still be unkind, and your responsibilities may still be heavy. But you are no longer the person who must open the door to every stressful thought. You have learned to be a gatekeeper. You have learned that your peace is not a destination you reach, but a choice you make every single time you take a breath. This is the quiet hope of the Stoic path. Your inner world can be a sanctuary of stillness, no matter how loud the storm becomes outside. We have explored the 5-breath anchor and the 7-day action plan to help you build your inner citadel. Whether you start with the morning armor or the evening audit, the most important thing is simply to begin. I invite you now to make a small commitment to yourself. What is one tiny thing you will do differently today? Perhaps you will wait 15 minutes before responding to a text. Or perhaps you will take those 5 breaths when you feel a sting of irritation. Please share that one small commitment in the comments below. By writing it down, you are turning an idea into an action. If these reflections served you, please consider joining our community by subscribing and sharing this message with someone who needs their strength back. We stand together in this quiet practice to seal your journey today. Let us repeat one final truth. I am steady in the storm. I am steady in the storm. These ideas are shared for reflection and personal growth, and they are not a substitute for professional mental health support. If you are going through something heavy, please reach out to someone you trust or a qualified professional. We respect all personal beliefs and traditions on this path of wisdom. May you have a day of stillness and deep strength.